Ladies and gentlemen, our inductee, Thomas Big Tom Raines. The only Albertville basketball player to date to make an Alabama All-State Tournament team. Tom Raines led the 1960 Aggies to a 30-win season and a number 3 finish in Alabama Class 2A. Here is the 1960 All-State Tournament team. And Raines from Albertville is on the front row, the second player from the right side. Others on the front row, left to right, Buster Sullivan of Tuscaloosa County, Tommy Lewis of Eufaula. Third is Raines of Albertville, and on the right is Don Sudeth of Murphy. On the back row, left to right, Clark Bowler, the MVP of Tuscaloosa County. Next is J.L. Bellamy of Emma Sanson. And the fellow on the back row with a sweater on, that's John Blackwell of Scottsboro. John went on to play at Auburn, and today serves on the Auburn Board of Trustees. On the far right is James Booth of Eufaula, and not shown are Holland Floyd of Scottsboro and Reese Carr of Lee. Even as a 10th grader, a newspaper account of young Tom said he has the potentiality of becoming one of the greatest cage stars who has ever played for the Aggies. Even today, 45 years later, he is still the most honored Aggie basketball star. Thomas Raines received the trophy for being the most valuable or the most outstanding player during the Marshall County tournament. Ray McClendon makes the presentation while Mr. Couch, the Albertville principal, looks on. Marshall County Sports Hall of Fame coach Shannon Sloan coached the 6'2", 190-pound center to many honors. In 1960, Raines was named the Birmingham News second-team All-State and most valuable player in Marshall County. In 2000, the Gadsden Times named Raines to the All-Century basketball team of North Alabama. During 3 varsity years, Raines was named to numerous all-tournament teams as well as receiving letters in basketball, track, baseball, and football. And here they are, the winningest Aggie basketballers in history, 30-6. All 5 starters average in double figures. On the front row, left to right, Mickey Moore, Jim Drain, Sherman South, Johnny Denham. The back row, left to right, Thomas Raines, Wally Dalrymple, Ricky White, Jitters McClendon, and Johnny Roden. Here, Big Tom goes for 2 against the 6'11" Curtis O'Daniel of Tallahassee in the 1960 state tournament at Tuscaloosa. Raines powers to the basket as a 10th grader. The Aggies won the Marshall County Championship, upsetting DAR 73-70. DAR was led by the Hall of Famer Jerry Edmonds with 31 points. Raines led the Aggies in rebounding and scored 15 points. And there was another game for this sophomore where he had a big night. Big Tom scored in one game 27 points and had 23 rebounds. His teammates that season: Bill Woodham, James Crawford, Larry Brown, Hoyt Orr, Charlie Pell, Earl Snyder, Ricky White, Paul Brothers, Jerry McClendon, and Lynn Cofield. In the 1958 district tournament, sophomore Raines in 3 games totaled 66 points and 53 rebounds, and he made 22 of 24 free throws. Returning with Raines for his junior year were Billy Woodham, Ricky White, Jitters McClendon, Larry Brown, and Charlie Pell. Joining them, Jimmy Drain, Mickey Moore, Bobby Wright, and Football Hall of Famer Gilmore Brannon. Albertville's outstanding center Tom Raines, 21, he goes high above everybody to register 2 points for the Aggies in their win over Guntersville. Albertville's Ricky White watches the action, as does Guntersville's Jimmy Posey, number 10, and Gordon Cowan, number 5. By his senior year, Tom had been involved with all Aggie sports: basketball, baseball, track, and football. Although he played for only 1 year of football under coaches Bobby Golden and Coach Boy Stone, he was a key receiver for the Aggies, wearing number 80, Big Tom. At the end of Big Tom's senior basketball season, here is Raines shown presenting Mr. Couch, the Albertville principal, with the trophies won by the Aggies during the past season. Auburn basketball coach Joel Eves signed Raines to a full grant and aid. However, he never attended Auburn. Raines chose to play at Florence State College from 1960 to 64 on a full scholarship, graduating in 1964. While at Florence, he earned all-conference for varsity freshmen and was the leading free throw shooter for 2 seasons. In his sophomore season, the Lions won the conference title and played in the national NAIA tournament in Kansas City, Missouri. At the time, Thomas Raines was one of only a few Lion players to ever earn a varsity letter for 4 years and to be a regular starter for 3 years. He was named All-Alabama Collegiate Conference for 2 years, 1961-1963. After college, Raines coached for 2 years at Douglas High School. He took his first team at Douglas to the state tournament and coached the state's 2A Most Valuable Player, Marshall County Sports Hall of Fame member Wayne Wigley. The coach with his Douglas State Tournament team, the winners of 22 games. The Eagles pulled off the biggest upset of the year to get to Tuscaloosa in the region championship, knocking off Curry with a record of 24-2. And down at Tuscaloosa, the Douglas Eagles were matched with powerful Priceville, the favorite for the state championship. After a slow start in that game, the Eagles trailed by a wide margin. After the first quarter, the boys played superb ball, but the early deficit proved to be too much, and the Eagles went down 66-57 to finish off an excellent 22-11 season. Coach Tom Raines inside the V, standing with his players. At the top of the V, on the left, wearing number 45, Gary Duke. Now as we move down, in front of Duke is Darrell Gamble. Number 41 is Kenneth Wilson. Number 23, Kenneth Adams. In front is number 35, Larry Ivy. As we move up the right side, number 21, Tommy Roberts, followed by number 31, Joe Teal. Number 15, Hall of Famer Wayne Wigley, the MVP of Alabama. Behind Wigley is Dwight Shirley, and the final player, number 43, Lynn Mullinax. While at Douglas, Raines kept his basketball skills sharp by playing for Marshall County semi-pro team for 2 years. He played twice on teams that played against the Harlem Globetrotters. Big Tom Raines, with a major in mathematics and science, worked in the aerospace industry for 20 years and is now self-employed in Pulaski, Tennessee, where he is an active member of the community and his church. Ladies and gentlemen, our inductee, Thomas Big Tom Raines.
Thought it'd be taller than this, didn't you? They make them a lot bigger today than they did back then, at least for ball players. I'd like to thank the Marshall County Hall of Fame Committee and the founders for their vision to preserve the history of sports in Marshall County. History always looks to the past to determine a legacy that might be worth noting. Most of the time, we don't realize the significance of what we do in the present that may be later thought of as being a historical event. Former Secretary of State Colin Powell says in his lessons on leadership that endeavors succeed or fail because of the people involved. And I was fortunate to have a lot of people around me in my earlier years that helped me to become what I've been chosen to represent today. And I'd like to mention a few of these. First, of course, is my parents. I'd like to dedicate tonight in the memory of my parents. They provided a stable home environment and encouragement in seeing that I did well in school. To them, academics was first and sports was second. And also my high school coach, Shannon Sloan, y'all have seen and know about him being not only a member of this Hall of Fame, but also of Alabama Hall of Fame. He came to Albertville when I was in the 8th grade, and the community was excited about his resume as a player. At that time, I'm not sure he had coached any at all, but at least he looked like a basketball coach. And if you know what he looks like, he's a pretty tall person, and he had been one of the high-scoring centers in the nation in small colleges. Anyway, he took an interest in me early on in the PE classes, and he became my mentor in playing the post position in basketball. And if he was a basketball player, it wasn't an option to be on the track team. That's the only reason I was on the track team, because he made us. Also, my high school principal, late M.G. Couch, he came from Scottsboro, and you know what kind of a basketball school that is. And so he was behind us in our sports, and also he was a great disciplinarian, and he also supported academics. My fellow basketball teammates, you know basketball is a team sport. And we had a very good team that we were all friends with each other, and we had the rapport that you hear about the Alabama teams, how they revered Coach Bear Bryant and how the team came together under him. That's the kind of situation we had during those 3 years that I played. At Albertville, our desire was to do our best and hope to win, not how good we looked individually. For example, as it stated earlier, all 5 of us my senior year averaged in the double digits. But we weren't selfish. Also, the citizens of Albertville, until Coach Sloan came, most people in Albertville supported football, and that was about all. That was a big thing in Albertville at that time. But then when we started being successful, my freshman year or sophomore year, the city rallied around us, especially and then my senior year. Of course, the whole town closed up when we went to the state tournament, just about. And back then, haircuts were only 25 cents, and you got them every Saturday. And so if you wanted to have a good time and enjoy yourself on Saturdays, you had to be winning during the week. So we got our local buzz at the barbershop while getting our heads buzzed. The late Lloyd Berry, principal, along with my basketball players I had at Douglas. Mr. Berry gave me a chance to coach, even though I hadn't planned to, for 2 years. And I was fortunate to have a very good bunch of boys. You saw them in the film. And to have Wayne Wigley as the most valuable player in the state, you know, what else could you ask for in that? And then my coach at college, the late Ed Bellingham, he was not, I was not able to fulfill my scholarship at Auburn because then, if you were married, you could not accept a scholarship in sports, and therefore I transferred to the University of North Alabama. And there, Coach Bellingham signed me sight unseen, and that allowed me to continue my education. Some of you may have seen the movie Hoosiers. It's one of my favorite movies. Cinderella story of a small town state champion team in Kentucky. And when I see that movie, the thought occurs to me that a similar movie could have been made about the Albertville's 1959-60 basketball team. We had the coach, we had the players, we had the parents, we had the backing and excitement of the community, and we had the story to tell. These are some of the people, and coupled with the grace of God, that has caused a few moments in history to be created that I was a privilege beyond measure to be a part of. And I thank you for this honor and opportunity to help preserve and celebrate Marshall County sports. Thank you.